Hi, Shamrock families. I'm Jen Flannery. I'm the Magnet Coordinator.
I'm Jenny Tucker. I'm the AIG teacher.
And we're going to walk you through the identification process for second graders. All right, so today we're going to talk about the definition of giftedness. We're going to share some information about the screening process that we have. The second grade screening process is a little different than third through 12th grade process. And then we're also going to analyze the identification rubric. So our state does require that our district develop clearly outlined procedures for identifying and serving gifted students.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the definition of giftedness. So our state defines giftedness of our AIG students in several ways. So just take a moment, you can read this definition. And just a few things to note when we're talking about gifted students. They're students who perform or show the potential to perform at high levels. This can be either intellectual or academic or both. They do require differentiated services, which we recognize, and we know that they have advanced learning needs, just like other students across our schools. So when their needs aren't met, we could see them disengage, or we could see them acting out, or just underperform to the standards that we know that they can reach. So it is very important that we identify these kids so we can meet their needs in the same ways. We know that giftedness is present across all cultures, economic strata, and areas of human endeavor. Okay, so CMS recognizes giftedness in 5 different ways. So there's different ways that you could show your giftedness. So those ways are academically, intellectually gifted, which we refer to as AI. Intellectually gifted is IG. Academically gifted is AG. Or you can show giftedness in either reading or math only. So that would be AM or AR or AM.
All right, so here's our screening process. Every single second grader in all of CMS goes through the screening process. Yours. Okay. We make sure that we're rooted in the best practices for the identification. We do a universal screening, and that's always going to be made up of at least 2 assessment opportunities. So they'll take a formal assessment like the COGAT test or an Iowa test. And then our informal criteria would be a gifted rating scale done by the first grade teacher or the portfolio opportunity. These are comprehensive and they're aligned to our service model, which is the TD Catalyst model. And all of them are going to provide multiple pathways for student identification. So here's our timeline. In last spring, all first graders got a gifted rated scale filled out for them by their first grade teacher. Now that it's fall, we're going to administer our COGAT tests in the next couple of weeks. Those that meet certain criteria after we get that data back from COGATs will also have the possibility of taking an Iowa assessment. In the winter, actually right during the fall, as soon as we get all that data back, we will begin our portfolio process. The students will work with me on portfolios for a few months. We'll wrap it up in January. And then in January, the portfolios will go off to a team to get scored, and those students' scores will be communicated to you guys.
Okay, so Ms. Flannery just mentioned the gifted rating scales or GRS scales. So these provide standardized method for identifying children for potential gifted identification based off teacher observations. So this was what happened in first grade. At the end of the year, teachers filled out GRS forms for every student, and it just recognizes their relative strengths and specific areas of giftedness. Those 6 areas or domains are intellectual, academic, motivation, creativity, leadership, and artistic talent. We use our GRS scores to kind of help show potential giftedness on our rubric for our students in the universal screening process. Next is the COGAT test. That stands for Cognitive Abilities Test. This is an aptitude assessment that measures reasoning and problem-solving skills and provides information on how a child thinks. So every child across CMS in second grade has the opportunity for the COGAT test, which is coming up in a couple weeks. So the COGAT test is divided into 3 batteries: verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal. verbal battery assesses language base, quantitative assesses mathematical concepts, patterns and relationships, and then nonverbal assesses reasoning using pictures and shapes. Once we receive the COGAT scores, an ability profile is generated to provide us more specifics on how to guide instructions to meet our learners where they are.
And with a combination of our GRS scores and our COGAT scores, some students may get the opportunity to take an Iowa assessment. The Iowa assessment assesses achievement in reading and in math. You must meet the criteria in order to participate in this. So you'll have to score in the 77th percentile or higher on the verbal battery, the quantitative battery, the QN composite, or the overall QN composite on that COGAT assessment.
Okay, so next are portfolios. So the TD portfolios are just a collection of student work samples that they will work on with either Ms. Flanner or myself to demonstrate gifted traits and behaviors. Once our portfolio samples are collected, they will be taken to a team of trained AIG teachers in our district to determine if evidence of the following categories exist, which are advanced language, analytical thinking, motivation, perseverance, or leadership, perspective, sensitivity, humor, or creativity, artistic talent. So once they are scored through their portfolios, students must meet certain criteria in order to participate in this assessment opportunity. But once we have their scores, that can also earn them points on our rubric. This is our portfolio criteria. So this is for CMS second graders who remain unidentified after the COGAT test or Iowa test and certain informal assessment opportunities, but they do have to meet one of the following criteria in order to participate in the portfolio opportunity. So they have to have scored in the 84th percentile or higher in 2 or more domains on the GRS scales. And at least one of them has to occur in either intellectual, academic, or creativity domains. Or they need to score in the 77th to the 88th percentile on the overall age composite on the COGAT assessment. They can earn 6 points on the gifted identification rubric through the achievement assessment and score in the 77th percentile or higher on any battery of the COGAT assessment and have one or more of the following factors: either an English learner, exceptional child, McKinney-Vento, chronic absenteeism, multiple entry points of schools within 24 months, or if they attend a Title I or low performing school.
So why the 77? To enable to be able to capture all of the 7th, 8th, and 9th stay nines, which is the above average performance. This kind of allows students to demonstrate gifted traits and abilities in other ways to create a comprehensive learner profile. For our GRS gifted classifications, the GRS is used as our first range screening instrument. That's our first step in the process. Teachers are rating the students through their observational checklists in 6 domains. They know the students for a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks, so they've been watching them all year through first grade, and they have a pretty good understanding of where they're going to fall in these 6 domains. The GRS scores are never used in isolation. They're just used in a combination either with the COGAT scores or with the portfolio. The higher the student's T-scores or percentiles on that GRS in one or more of the gifted scales, the more likely the student is gifted. And then it expands the ranges to include very high probability and high probability categories so that we can create more opportunities for all students.
Okay, so we're going to go over the CMS identification rubric. Just some highlights for the rubric. Students will start earning points for aptitude and achievement scores in the 77th percentile or higher. So that's when we see those scores at 77, then we can start finding points on the rubric for them. There is a more direct path to gifted identification than there was in the past, which is great. Once a student identifies as gifted in any capacity, the process stops. And we do know there are multiple pathways for students to identify as gifted in CMS. It doesn't just stop with the COGAT. We've already mentioned JERA skills, Iowa opportunity, as well as portfolio.
This is just a glance at what our identification rubric looks like. If you guys have questions about it, once all of our scores are coming back, or you want us to walk through it with you, we are happy to do so.
Okay, so we do have opportunities beyond second grade. Second grade is not the only time that you can be assessed for giftedness. So any unidentified students could be considered for rescreening after a period of at least 24 months have passed. All decisions regarding rescreening for scholars are conducted at the school level, and it's determined by a TD site-based committee. And we need multiple data points to make sure that we use in making those decisions to make sure it's a good fit to go ahead and put them through another assessment. The screening process includes formal assessments, the COGAT, combined with achievement scores. That would be the EOG scores that they've had for Iowa. The screening window for 3rd through 5th grade students typically occurs in the wintertime.
We know this is a lot of information to give you guys, so here are our email addresses. If you guys have questions for us, we're happy to answer them. We will be here to coach you through the whole process, every step of the way. You will get notification letters from us very soon, letting you know how your students perform. But reach out in the meantime if you need anything from us. Thank you.